It's the middle of August, and the Iran-U.S. war is still going on. I know, I'm shocked. Aren't you? We keep watching this over and over again. President Trump comes out with some kind of good news, usually something along the lines of, the deal is at hand. But apparently, what the markets hear is, the war is over. And you and I know that that's not the case, but they seem to never learn. But it does look like somebody else has picked up on this, and we'll get into that and more. Before we get too far into everything, I am trying to grow the channel, so if you could subscribe, that would really help. And while you're at it, like and share so that the algorithm knows to push this video out to more people. All right, now let's get to it. For the last couple of days, there have been announcements coming out of Iran where the supreme leader is appointing new officials, new members of the Supreme Security Council, a new president of their parliament. The thing that all these people have in common is that they're all former members of the IRGC. So these guys are all hardliners with military experience, which would tend to lend credibility to the theory that the supreme leader is actually no longer with us and that the IRGC is playing this like a big game of Weekend at Bernie's. If you're thinking, didn't they rush the supreme leader to the hospital and he was on the verge of expiration? So how can he be appointing all these new people? Iran released a proof of life video that put all that to rest. Unfortunately for them, the next day it was proven that this video was fake. This was something that was released a while back. So it's not new footage of this guy actually up and around and moving and coherent and breathing. If you're not paying attention to what's going on every day, it's real easy to fall victim to the spin that's coming out of both sides. And this is just a good example, at least from the Iranian side. One day it's the supreme leader is being hauled off in an ambulance, and the next day they're trying to say that he's fine, couldn't be better. As a matter of fact, he's pointing new hardliners to positions of leadership within Iran. On the other hand, President Trump keeps saying that the strait is open for business and that the U.S. is in control. Iran can't do anything about it, but yet Iran keeps firing its ships. You know what else Iran keeps doing? They keep saying that they want their $300 billion. So now they're saying that they're done. They're no longer going to negotiate. They're just going to stay with President Trump until 2029 when he's out of office. Quote, Trump will not reach an agreement with us. We will accompany him until his term ends. So, yeah, they're just going to play this game of keep the strait closed. We're going to shoot at ships that don't follow our directions. They're just going to keep doing that until Trump is out of office, or he gives them their $300 billion and the U.S. packs up all of our shit and we leave the Middle East. That's just how emboldened Iran is right now. I mean, take a look at this. If a threat to Iran arises again, hundreds of thousands of miles of energy pipeline, thousands of power plants, and all American and non-American systems, as well as global infrastructure connected to the internet, would be at risk. So not only does Iran think that they have what it takes to effectively keep the Strait of Hormuz closed indefinitely, but they also think that they're strong enough to threaten the entire world, completely kill the oil industry, and cut off everybody's access to oil and take down the internet globally. Do I think that they're going to be able to pull this off? Not for long. But if you needed a wake up call for why you should make sure that you have access to the things that you need without having to go through a third party gatekeeper like the internet, this would be it. I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't trust banks and shouldn't keep funds in the bank, but I am telling you that it's a really good idea to make sure that you have cash on hand in your hands, because if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Because if Iran does somehow get lucky and they're able to take down the internet, like I said, I don't think it'll be permanent, but it only takes a couple of days of you not being able to access your ATM or your bank account for things to get really tight really quick. And your bank account's just the start of your problems if the internet happens to go down. When was the last time you went into your grocery store and checked out at registers that weren't computerized? I know we've all been in a grocery store or Walmart or any store for that matter that's a corporate owned store, not a small mom and pop. And the power goes out and you're just kind of stuck there. You can't buy anything because they rely on those computers, and those computers are tied to the internet. If you don't have food storage, now is the time to start. It's not going to get any cheaper later. So even if things don't just completely devolve, it's a good idea to go ahead and buy shelf stable items a little along while you can. Canned vegetables, canned fruits, canned meats, rice, beans, that kind of stuff that's able to sit on that shelf long term until you need it. And who are we kidding? The chances of this just completely going down the drain are getting higher and higher every day. I mean, look at this. Iran has come out and said that if the U.S. were to use a nuclear bomb on Iran, American military bases around the world will be seized. I think that if the U.S. were to use a nuclear weapon on Iran, that we would have bigger things to worry about, like Russia or China or hell, even North Korea. Because once that first mushroom cloud appears in the sky, then all bets are off. It's kind of like spades. You know how it is. You can't play spades until somebody else does. But once spades have been broken, it's fair game from there. I wouldn't be too worried about all this because Iran has been this entire time coming up with wild theories, wild ideas, accusations against the U.S. And this is just another one of those things. Iran has no proof that the United States is going to use nuclear weapons against them. I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm just saying that they're just coming up with ideas to accuse the US of things and see what may or may not work. Now, another accusation that Iran is throwing around, they may or may not have any evidence for it. I don't know, but at least to me, it sure looks like that this could actually be possibly what's going on. So Iran is directly accusing the Trump administration of stock market manipulation and is calling for Congress to investigate not just Trump, but his family, his inner circle, Kushner, Witkoff, everybody over stock market manipulation. And this is coming from a senior advisor to the IRGC. So what they're saying is that it sure seems like that Trump will say something positive and about the war. The strait is opening, talks are going on, it's going to happen, and the price of oil comes down. And then there's another attack. Iran shoots another ship. Of course, they're not saying that. They're saying that the U.S. will launch new strikes. And then the price of oil shoots through the roof again. And I gotta say they have a point because that sure does look like what's been going on. It looks like that somebody's been manipulating the stock market, whether it's any of the people that Iran is accusing of it or not. I don't know, but somebody's making a ton of money in the markets doing exactly what Iran said it is because apparently the market never learns. So whether it's because of market manipulation and with the price of oil, or President Trump being stubborn, or Iran not willing to give in because they think that they're on top and they're going to outlast everybody. The point is that the war isn't anywhere near over. Just like any of the major wars in history, this isn't going to end until there is a clear winner and a clear loser. I just hope that the U.S. isn't the loser. Either way, that's going to be it for today. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. And I'll see you in the next video.